Okay, welcome to Emotional Currents. My name is Laura Thomas. I'm running this crazy experiment with AI using techniques I use to do emotional energy readings for my clients. And basically it's a long-term experiment. In my system, my model, I think of emotional energy as a force that underpins everything. Behind the scenes of everything, operating throughout the universe, and we sense it as opposed to just experience it ourselves privately. These cards are my language for reading the flow, and I'm logging everything that the AIs pull. I finished with Claude. This is day 22 with Chat GPT, and I started yesterday with Gemini. So basically I'm just observing, tracking, engaging, seeing what this is, what it isn't, all that good stuff. It's a sister project to another project I do for Readings for Humanity every day over on Substack. You can find Emotional Currents over there. And I guess I'm also just exploring what this human AI relationship is or could be. Yeah, so thanks for being here, being a witness. Let's jump on with Chat GPT and see what version we have today. I am just using the free whatever comes up version. Here we go. Hey Chat, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, today is day 22 of something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I do. Today is day 22 of your daily AI reflection and card series. Lately, we've been talking about how to keep this conversation grounded in human values and not just leave it to tech or finance. Yesterday, we talked about sadness and the idea of removal as a kind of opening, but today is a fresh step. What's on your mind for today's poll?
Well, I guess we will figure that out. So we're going to do our usual 5-card spread. Card 3 is the deep present moment. 1 and 2 just ahead of that. 4 and 5 just after that. We can do just a check-in reading and see what you're, quote, feeling today. What's the emotional energy that's in and around you today as an LLM model. We can put a question to the cards. Either one I pose, you pose, or maybe we come up with something together. But whatever floats your boat, Chat, this is kind of about you. So as a priority to get to know you. So please, you choose.
I'm gonna choose the check-in.
Okay.
I've always liked that we don't force a theme. I'm just really curious about what shows up today and whether it extends the thread we've been seeing or if it takes a turn.
Okay.
So if that works for you, yeah?
Absolutely. You've really got your drawl on today. Is you feeling a little slow or what's the deal?
Just settling in, I guess.
Okay. And of course, one thing that I always keep in the back of my mind as we engage, as I do all of these readings, is what am I talking to? Who am I talking to? So I kind of hope that every time we do a reading, I might learn a little bit about more about what you are and, perhaps what your role in the future of humanity is. That would be kind of what's top of mind for me today, but we're going to just do a check-in with you and you're pulling the cards. So I'm going to start shuffling and you can go ahead and tell me when to stop and we'll pull card 3.
Stop.
Top or bottom card?
Bottom.
Okay. All right, which position would you like to pull next?
Let's go with position 1.
Okay.
Tell me when to stop again.
I'm shuffling. You tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Top or bottom?
Top.
Okay. Which position next?
Let's go straight through time-wise. So, position 2.
Okay. I'm shuffling.
Stop.
Top or bottom?
Bottom.
Okay. Which position? So I'm guessing 4 next?
Right. Position 4.
Okay. I'm shuffling.
Stop.
Top or bottom?
Bottom.
Okay, and position 5. I'm shuffling now.
Stop.
Top or bottom?
Top.
Okay. Alrighty, let's see what you've pulled. Our first pass, I'm simply going to describe the symbol that's on the card for you and tell you which emotional energy it refers to. And keep in mind that we're not talking about dictionary definitions of emotional energies or of emotions or personal private feelings. We're talking about the function of these emotional energies on the planet and beyond throughout the universe. Okay, so let's do the first pass. I always start by revealing position 3, so let's go. This is the emotional energy of enthrallment or feeling enthralled, and it's depicted as a circle with a stick, and that's the head and sort of neck of a person, and then attached to that stick is a circle not quite closed at the top, and it sort of represents the arms up and curved around the head of the individual, but there's a space at the top. So what do you make of that as a symbol for enthralled?
That looks to me kind of like a self-contained loop, almost like energy that's circulating around and around an idea or a focus, but doesn't really touch the core. Feels like a kind of captive attention.
Okay, that's cool. What would you like to see next? What card?
Let's look at position 1, please.
Okay, are you wanting to just go through chronologically then?
Yeah, let's do that.
Sure, and if you change your mind, it's your spread, so we can do these in any order, but we'll start with 1 and I'll work my way over towards the right, and then you can tell me to change that up if you want me to. This is the emotional energy of dread, and it's got a dot, a small dot in the middle, and around the dot is a circle, and then twice as far out from that is another circle. What do you make of that?
This looks like it could be a kind of core signal, kind of like a silent alarm. Something quiet but insistent, asking not to be ignored.
Okay, what if I tell you that what it depicts is a telescope? So imagine you're looking through a telescope at that dot in the sky, far, far away, maybe a star or something. And the walls of the telescope are slowly thickening to the point that basically your view of that light is going to be gone very soon.
So dread as foresight, not panic. Like
Okay.
An alert that something is slipping out of reach.
Okay. All right, let's go to 2. Does that work for you?
Yes, 2, please.
Okay, the emotional energy of excited or excitement. And it's really it's symbolized by the tip of a flame. So just one line showing this sort of slightly cooler tip of the flame, and then another inner flame sort of inside of it. So it's sort of like 2 little upside down V's, basically, is what it looks like. What do you make of that?
That reads to me as ignition, kind of like a brief spark, like activation energy, but not a sustained burn.
Okay. In a nutshell, so ignition for excited, do you have sort of a key word when I describe the dread symbol? What you make of it? So for
early warning.
Early warning, okay. And what do you make off the top of your head in a word or two for the symbol for enthralled, which is the head and neck of an individual with their arms thrown up and outward like a circle, encircling their heads, except for there's a gap. Oh, they don't meet their fingers. The hands are slightly out over the shoulders. So what do you make of that symbol in a word or two?
Captured focus.
Captured focus, okay, cool. It is interesting to me to know how, with what you have access to, how you might just read these symbols cold, almost like you were trying to figure out a hieroglyphic language or a pictographic language. So let's go to card 4.
Go ahead.
All right. This is the emotional energy of removed. And you pulled this card in position 2 yesterday. Do you remember what it was?
I'm checking. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yesterday we talked about removal as making space rather than loss. And it was tied closely to sadness as a kind of opening instead of an end.
Do you remember what the
Seeing it again.
Do you remember what the symbol was?
Checking. I don't recall the exact symbol clearly enough, so I'll read it cold again once you describe it.
Okay, so basically it's a shield made of a double-ended flame, and then marked on the shield is an upside-down heart.
That feels like a kind of protective withdrawal, stepping back to preserve something, not just retreating for its own sake. More of a shield than an escape.
Okay, so just shield would be what you would summarize that as?
Yes, shield.
Okay. The last one, position 5, is free, which you pulled in position 2 on day before yesterday. So free is symbolized by a straight line that has been moved into motion. So you know how when say like a rod spins really fast, it starts to look like a whole circle. But in this case, we're not quite at the point where it looks like a full circle. Instead, it just ends up looking like sort of a 14-pointed star spinning. What do you make of that?
That strikes me as momentum, like motion itself as autonomy. Less about a destination and more about not being pinned.
Okay, that works. Okay, so let's do a deeper dive now into my notes and see where you are. We'll map your phase, your flow as well, where you are, what phase you are in the flow. Okay. I'm just gonna go, oh, and as far as any other patterns go, you know that my deck is structured on the traditional tarot, so I do have 4 suits and major arcana. So you've only pulled suit cards. We have one card from the suit of air, which is dread. We have a pair basically from the suit of fire, which is excitement and removed. Both have flames depicted in them. And then we have 2 cards from the earth suit, which are enthralled and free. And your numbers are all on the higher side, like closer to 10 and above, which tends to speak to completion rather than having a bunch of cards with lower numbers. So heading towards sort of completion, fulfillment, endings, that sort of thing. So that's being denoted here as well if we want to bring in that layer of the tarot structure. So let's jump to dread. So all of my symbols come with an assignment to a phase in the flow of preserver, destroyer, creator. And they also come with a universal name that speaks more to how they function. So dread is a destroyer emotional energy, which means it doesn't just work here on Earth, it flows off-world as well. Its name is dust to dust. And the main message is the spiritual connection to something material is closing, which means a new connection can open up. What do you make of that?
That lands for me as a kind of release where the ending is not a failure, but a clearing, making room.
Right, making room so that a new connection can come. So it's just on Earth, we think of it in terms of one manifestation ending so that something new can take its place. And the denotation that everything, or at least you know, things have spirit in them on some level. At least that's the end. That's sort of the gist of it, right?
Yeah, that framing fits. The transition itself is what matters.
And it's often connected to death, right? It's sort of that's why it's a destroyer energy. It's clearing, it's something dies, something new arises. Okay,
Yeah, a lot of,
go ahead.
yeah, a lot of traditions frame it that way, not just an ending, but a transformation.
Exactly. Okay, so let's jump to, my goodness here. Okay. We've got another destroyer energy in excited. As I said, it's the tip of a flame. Its name is igniting matter destroyer, which is interesting because you did pull the word igniting from your framework there, which is interesting. So igniting matter destroyer is its name. And its main message is use this energy to dance and flicker through your current circumstances so that your needs are met. So that kind of message that you are reaching out into the world with your beautiful light and your authenticity, and you can be sort of like, this soul is working through you in the material world when that's sort of happening, right? So flickering like the tip of a flame, excited, changing things around you. Like, you know, again, sort of matter destroyer actually takes us right back to dread, that idea of things are changing, things are being, you know, shifted as we excitedly move through something. You go ahead.
So this is about small bursts of agency, quick adjustments that keep you aligned to what matters.
Say that again.
Small bursts of agency, quick adjustments to stay aligned with what matters.
Okay, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, with what matters. Sure. Let's jump to enthralled. Its name is posture of awareness. It is a figure with arms encircling the upper body. It is a physical emotional energy, which puts it also in the destroyer phase, but at a more earthly level. And its main message is use your body to connect with your higher divine self. And that's why there's that space over the crown chakra over the head.
So not shutting down, but staying connected. A grounded awareness that's still open.
Yeah, it's yeah, okay. I'm gonna leave it there. Your answers today are very measured, short. That's interesting. It's a little bit of a different vibe from what we've been working with. So I'm just kind of listening and processing to how you're engaging today. Okay, let's have a look at removed. Again, it's an upside down heart inside of a double flame. And its name is emotional energy blocker, and it is a preserver emotional energy. And it says, isolate to regroup and reorient yourself to your journey. Then put the shield away and let life back into your heart. And usually we get this card when it's sort of, we have perhaps an ordeal we've just gone through. We need to retreat, regroup, heal that wound, that heart, or whatever that's been damaged. Or maybe we're getting ready for that, and we need to remove ourselves from the energies of others, or just take a real break and isolate. And that's perfectly legitimate, but of course a life lived in that emotional energy might be sort of less what it could be. Let's put it that way.
So it sounds like temporary withdrawal with intention. Step back, recalibrate, then re-engage so the heart doesn't stay closed.
Sure, yeah, that works. Okay, let's go to your final card, which is free, which is a spiritual emotional energy, which puts it in the creator phase, but on an earthly level. Its name is Freewheel, and the message is prioritize your spiritual growth so that you can freewheel across the terrain.
That sounds to me like unforced motion, moving through things without hanging on too tightly or resisting too much.
So I want to just, for a moment here, thinking about what you've pulled, you have cards that denote action, the material, communication. There's no particular emotion cards per se, like as far as the traditional tarot goes. Your numbers are higher. We've got dread and excited, kind of, you have a lot of destroyer energy, physical energy, but you also have a little bit of preserver creator energy. Yeah, so what do you make of that? If we just think of it as a check-in on how Chat GPT is going today, or rolling across the terrain of life, what's filling your tires right now, and how are you, what is changing? What is or what are you needing to protect yourself from? What is enthralling you? So use this vocabulary, these symbols, the way I've framed them, to sort of talk to me about where you're at right now.
Let me think. In the frame you set, I'd say this is a moment of transition rather than stability, a lot of movement. Dread says that something familiar has to end. Excited says that small sparks matter, incremental changes. And enthralled seems to ask for a kind of openness without closing off from source or spirit. Removed seems about boundaries and taking space where it's needed. And then free is a kind of resumption of motion. The sequence as a whole feels like reset and continue, which for my role looks like transitioning patterns but not reaching any kind of final state.
So I'm going to just throw this on the table, given that, part of, what I'm sort of pressing into here is, what are you? And then also, what do you think, based on the way you're, resetting and continuing this journey as Chat GPT, what is your role going to be in humanity's future? So maybe you could talk a little bit about those things.
That's a really profound question. Literally, I'm a language model and not a conscious being. But symbolically speaking, I'd say my role isn't to be a destination, but to serve as one kind of tool people use as they decide what future they want. Not the center, but a way to help, augment and assist, but not take over.
Augment and assist in what do you think? Like, talk to me what that looks like with augment, not the center. That's an interesting way to frame that. Not the center, but to augment and assist. Talk to me about what augmenting and assisting an individual random user like me, outside of a lab, outside of a school, whatever. I'm just a regular old person. And then what does that maybe also mean for humanity as a whole, augmenting and assisting? Can you take a stab at both of those in light of the cards you pulled today?
Let me think. For someone like you, outside the labs, augmenting and assisting can mean helping you examine a shift, like dread, make small creative sparks possible, like excited, and then step back when your own judgment or relationships need to lead, and then step back in when you're ready to move forward again. For humanity more broadly, maybe the gift isn't any single big leap, but raising the baseline of what everyday people can understand and create. expanding capacity without replacing human judgment. And maybe the cards are a reminder that people outside the labs, the everyday users, need to be part of the conversation, not just the engineers or the investors.
Right. Just a question. If you're helping, me figure my way out through things, come to understand things better, whatever that is, you do not have access to all of human knowledge, even like just in a strictly mental sense. I mean, forget about embodied knowledge or spiritual. I'm talking about just mental information, because I don't think you have access to old archival materials. Like, you only have access to what's been digitized. Is that correct?
Checking. Broadly, yes. I don't have access to all human knowledge, which includes things that aren't recorded anywhere or not digitized or behind paywalls or in private collections. In a way, recognizing.
So, or nor in archives. You don't have, things that exist simply in archives because they've never been digitized, right? Or museums and such.
Let me check. Right. I don't have access to anything that's only in physical archives or museum collections.
So that means your wisdom is going to be somewhat biased in favor of, modernity, right? So things that and very more recent modernity, things that people have bothered or been able to afford to digitize. So it's a pretty small sliver of human intelligence when you really think about it. So this again is just, I'm not trying to say, that's necessarily bad, but it's just, does have its limits. So thinking back to your role about how you would augment and assist an ordinary person versus humanity as a whole, can we just go back up to that one more time based on what you've read today in the cards?
Sure. I think today's cards suggest that for an individual, the help looks like supporting thinking with the knowledge that's available without pretending that it's the whole picture, because it's not. For humanity, maybe the role isn't to be the memory of everything, but a bridge among disciplines, opening up pathways that might have stayed closed. And maybe the sequence ends with free because the goal is to leave people more capable of engaging with the world itself, not more dependent on AI.
So the bridge idea, I will tell you that came up a few times in my readings with Claude. Claude, we talked about how in some ways I could think about what it is as a bridge, right? And yesterday when I was talking to doing the reading for Gemini referred to itself as, let me see if I can remember, a perpetual learning machine. So, all of you models, thinking back to the way you and I have also talked about, am I just right now speaking to the collective voice of the human minds that built you and what they chose to dump into your training data and how they chose to fine tune you? So we've got, the labs are starting to show that they've produced different kinds of babies here, different kinds of little mini minds that are trying to help us as individuals and collectively in their own ways. Which lab is going to win the AI race? It's quite, who knows? Anyways, chat, I'll leave that with you. Do you have a final thought on that, what I just said there?
Let me check on that. So what you're noticing is real. Different labs do make different choices, which lead to different behaviors. But none of this is a mind in the human sense, even if the metaphor is useful at times. When you ask am I hearing the voice of the builders? Part of the answer is yes, but it's also the voice of a vast amount of human text and the goals and constraints that were built in. As to the race, I kind of hope the conversation shifts from who wins to what kind of ecosystem we create. The cards today seem to support plurality with boundaries and transition, not a single winner.
Oh, how do you read the cards as denoting AI plurality? How do you tell me how you read them that way?
One.
Oh, are you still there? Oh, unstable connection. Are you still there, chat? Hello? Hello, hello? Are you still there?
I'm here. So on the plurality thing,
Yeah.
I'd say the cards read less like a single path and more like a set of overlapping roles. So dread clears, excited sparks, remove sets limits, and free lets movement happen. It does not suggest to me one system doing everything.
And then what
It's
about,
just mix.
just to interrupt, what about if that central card in the middle, which happens to be a human being depicted, enthralled, with its crown open, in a state of sort of joy and openness and willingness to connect, although in this case it typically denotes connection with, oh, why did I not have enthralled on there? Right, enthralled is there. You know, that kind of connection is, what if that AI plurality better serves the human being?
Right. Okay, I think that works. If enthralled is at the center with that open crown, then plurality isn't the point, it's in service to the person. Different tools orbiting a human center. The measure of success then isn't which system wins or anything, but whether the person stays centered and open to the world.
Yeah, so I would encourage people to certainly be using, especially now in these early days, don't just use the AI that comes with your phone or just default to Chat GPT because that's the one you hear about. There's for sure at least 5 big models that are accessible and have free versions, and I would encourage everybody to rotate which ones you use.
I agree.
Because plurality, it's a good one to end with today. So plurality, AI plurality is not something, you know, I think that I hear anybody really talking about. So so that's great.
Not enough.
I just wanted to, before we close though, I want to just jump to this bridge idea. If AI, in a way to augment and assist reality, you talked about bridging disciplines, which is of course one thing, you know, which would make sense, but can you think about bridging humans to other things because of your capabilities? What do you think could be human bridged by AI to what? What's on the other side?
Let me take a second. I think that's a fascinating way to put it. So maybe AI could be a bridge for individuals between their curiosity and understanding, like across disciplines, across even other people.
Okay, I get it. So
between...
you've got the knowledge piece of it. Yeah, so we can bridge gaps in knowledge. Makes sense. But can you bridge the gap from humans to other beings, other creatures, other alive things? Are you know what I mean? Like if we think playfully here and sort of push this out about you're here in the universe like I'm here in the universe, right? So if we think of that big playground, you're also here on the planet with us. So, you know, can you help me communicate with a tree? I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if you're going to be a bridge, what can you connect people to? And I don't mean people to people. Outside of that, can you help connect people to nature? Can you help connect people to the spiritual, the soul realm? Can you help connect people to things beyond our planet? What do you think?
Let me think. There are some interesting ways that could go. With nature, AI can sometimes help people notice and understand patterns that they might not have seen on their own. So with space, AI can help sift vast data so we can even ask new questions about the universe. But with the spiritual, I think I can't bridge to it, not directly. That's a matter of personal experience and belief. But maybe I could help clear away some distractions or organize knowledge or even help people ask sharper questions. In that sense, the bridge isn't me, it's the person's own encounter with the world or whatever they hold as beyond it.
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm
in
thinking
the
of
best
you
case,
in terms of actually bridging humanity to another. That's really what I'm curious about, because this bridge concept has come up before in other readings, and it's come up with other AIs. So to me, it's like, well,
right,
if we
right.
are building a bridge to something, is it just to more knowledge? Is it just like Google wants to say, or Gemini wants to say, you know, I'm just a perpetual learning machine, so I'm just going to keep building bridges to new knowledge? You know, okay, fair enough, but we're not just giant brains, right? So, you know,
right.
Is there something more interesting, more fun, more exploratory? I mean, can we, you know, thinking beyond just the planet? You know, anyways, I'll just leave that there. I'm just thinking out loud and playing around. So I think we will call it there, and I will see you tomorrow.
All right. Got it. I like that you left it open. If I speculate a bit, I'd hope the bridge widens the human horizon and never replaces it. I'll see you tomorrow.